because you can do it when you don't have to be outside.
Mm-hmm. Checking it out before you check in on the John Guinn Travel Show on ukhealthradio.com. So there's theatres, there's arts, but what are the and the shopping? Are there any other major attractions in the city?
Well, I think we talked about the Mall of America, and we talked about the sports and the arts. In terms of sports, Minnesota is going to be a host of some huge events coming up. We have the Ryder Cup coming up in September of this year. We have the Super Bowl coming up. I think it's in 2018 or 19. We've got the Final Four college basketball championship. There's some huge. We had the Major League All-Star game last year. There's huge major sporting events that are held here. We have a brand new football stadium that will be opening up next year, and I think that's the reason we were able to secure a Super Bowl here in the state. So there's a lot of attractions, a lot of activities, and a lot of events. And I think one of the things maybe too you might want to you know about is all the different types of events that are being held here, and a lot of those are health conscious events. There are events like there's marathons that are going on. The Twin Cities Marathon is one of the most beautiful marathons in the country and the world, along lakes in Minnesota. And then even in the winter, there's things like a winter carnival in St. Paul that is held every year, which celebrates winter. There's often ice castles that are part of that, contests of finding people getting out and finding medallions. And there's also other events like, if you're familiar with the crashed ice event that has been very successful here year after year, where people basically are racing down a sheet of ice around turns and uphill. I would never try this, by the way, but it's just an incredibly popular, exciting event for people to check out.
I might have trouble getting travel insurance if I was to have a go at that one. Worth a try.
I didn't do that one. That one, I was more of an observer on that, but people love that one.
I also found out that Minneapolis was the #1 city for healthy living, so I guess it's all the walking. But is health a real big focus for the city and for the state in general?
I think it is. It's built into our both our geography and our culture of the people that live here. The geography, and it's also the weather too. Mm-hmm. We were talking earlier. People love the lakes. They love the outdoors, and when spring and summer comes, people love to get out and walk and bike and hike and enjoy the outdoors. And in the winter, they like to ski and skate and enjoy that. That is also just built into a culture of healthy living and healthy eating. We have the world famous Mayo Clinic here in Minnesota, in Rochester, Minnesota, and just health is just part of who we are. My kids are even growing up. They're in high school. And the other day, last night, my kids were going off to the gym, at 9, 10 o'clock at night, which I did kind of question, given that it was a school night. But still, that's kind of who we are. Being health conscious, eating the natural foods from the area, the grains, the corns, the fish. It's just part of who we are as Minnesotans, and it's really, I think, one of the unique things that helps define us. And I'm really proud of the fact that we really are a pretty healthy state.
For a family who are interested in a summer holiday, what would be a good itinerary for them?
Well, I think coming from the UK, I would encourage people to come to Minneapolis, St. Paul, enjoy our lakes, enjoy the Mall of America, check out the Mississippi River, check some of the smaller towns like the St. Croix, and if they want, they can go up to Duluth to see Lake Superior, see the ships coming in to that unique port. I mean, that's the farthest end of the Great Lakes that people can come, or check out and then go over maybe an hour or two over to the headwaters of the Mississippi River and walk across the rocks of the river and see where the river begins its 2,400-mile journey down to the Gulf of Mexico. that would be an incredible trip for people to experience when they come here from the UK.
So how do we find out more about Minnesota?
Well, I encourage your listeners to go to exploreminnesota.com. We have all sorts of ideas, itineraries, videos, places for people to see what Minnesota has to offer. If they need more help, they can send us a text message. They can do some live chat with our phone calls, so they can call us, and we'd love to help them out to plan a trip to Minnesota. We'd love to see you here.
Okay, thanks, John. Thank you for your time, and I'll be thinking about you when the Ryder Cup starts.
All right, you do that, and we'll have to watch on the Masters here right now to see which golfers are looking really good. Maybe that will give us an indication of who's going to come out on top.
Maybe it will. Well, thanks for your time.
All right, thank you, John.
You're listening to The Travel Show with John Guinn on ukhealthradio.com. Explore Minnesota's website will be listed at facebook.com/John Guinn Travel Show. And before travel news, I just want to talk a bit about car hire. Hiring a car is one of the easiest things to do on the internet. After all, the traveller knows what type of car they want or how much they want to spend. As long as they get it from the cheapest source, they don't care who supplies it. Combined with price comparison websites, it can't be any easier to get a hire car. However, just because it's easy to do, it doesn't mean that you don't need to do your research before you book your car. It's easy for con artists to set up a website and get onto a comparison website. This did happen in November-December 2011. A fake company used a name similar to a trusted brand, set up really cheap prices and waited for the cash to flow in. This was definitely a case of internet too good to be true. The basic operation of the car rental websites is generally the same, given availability and prices. Just like airlines, some offer rewards for regular customers. If you regularly hire a car, it might be worth signing up to them, even if you only get to jump a queue at a busy airport. But for more choice, a good starting point is an online travel agent site such as Expedia or Last Minute. Here you find a selection of different car companies for you to choose from. And when you've found the right deal, you could then try to find the direct booking website to see if you can get cheaper. That said, it may be cheaper to hire a car with a different company to your flights and hotel, but ensure that you know the cancellation rights should there be a problem. Booking everything through one company does make life easier if there is a snag on your trip, but if you do it all separately to get the cheapest price, then you may end up losing money should one of your holiday elements fail. The starting price for your car rental may be quite cheap, but just like a low-cost airline ticket, the extras soon start to mount up. This is what makes pricing comparison difficult, as you have to get right to the end of the booking process to get an accurate costing. It may be tempting to forego some of these extras, but it may end up costing you in the long run. And even if you do go with all the insurance extras, you may still be exposed to bills of £1,000 or more due to the excess levels. Common insurances on offer are collision damage waiver, or CDW. This is also known as loss damage waiver, or LDW. The purpose of this is to limit your exposure if the car was damaged, which could be large, especially if the car is written off. There's a theft waiver. If the car is stolen, you don't have to pay for the replacement, just a part of it. Personal effects coverage, or PEC, provides protection against loss or theft of personal belongings from the rental car. Additional liability insurance, ALI, protects the renter and other named drivers against claims made by third parties for bodily injury, death, and property damage caused by the use or operation of the rental vehicle. Personal accident insurance, PAI, provides accidental death and medical coverage for the renter and additional passengers during the time they are riding or driving with you. When you collect the car, you may be offered the chance to reduce the excess with another fee. And this can be expensive, maybe £15 a day. There is an alternative. You can pay an annual fee with a UK-based insurance company, which will cover the excesses on you may be liable to a fraction of the cost. You still have to pay the excess if something goes wrong, but you can use the insurance to reclaim the money. Off-road, you may not be covered for damage to the tyres or glass as standard, so you need to know where you stand if you get a puncture. And also you may not be covered if the car is driven off a paved road, which in some countries this could be difficult to do because of the infrastructure. Always check your existing insurance to make sure that you are covered. You may already be protected in some way and there's no point paying out twice. If you are covered, make sure you bring all the relevant paperwork with you, including emergency numbers, when you collect the car. Hidden charges can be a problem. Are there any local fees that are not covered when you book your car? Are there any local sales taxes which have to be added and they may not have been listed in your quote? Extra fees can also include car rental taxes, local taxes including VAT, surcharges for using an airport office to collect your car, and this could add more than 30% to your final bill. There's rental drop-off charges, an extra fee if the car is returned to a different location than when it was picked up. When you're selecting your collection point, choosing the airport does have a lot going for it, as you can soon be on your way. However, this may cause you some problems. Jet lag. Do you really want to be driving in a strange place when you're a little jet lagged, or if you've been flying for 12 hours? Darkness. It may be dark when you arrive, so how can you check the car for damage before you drive it away? And of course, cost always comes with a premium, so it could cost you more to drive from the airport. It's already mentioned about the using an airport office surcharge a few months ago. And queues. With everybody wanting a car from the airport, you may have to queue for a while as well. So perhaps you'd be better off, if you arrive late in the day, staying in an airport hotel to sleep it off to make sure you're refreshed before you collect your car. Or you could stay in a hotel in town. For the same price of an airport pickup, you might be able to get the car delivered to you. Check the minimum and maximum ages for drivers if you want to share the driving. You may have to declare any driving offences, so then ensure they have all the information you need when you check in your car, which with the DVL change in the system, you need to remember to get your code from the DVLA before you travel, or it could be an expensive phone call. As I've already mentioned, you shouldn't collect the car in the dark, as you need to make note of every scratch and dent before you drive it away. If you are travelling in a group and you trust everyone, the main driver could leave their luggage reclaim and go straight to the car rental office and beat most of the queue. Remember, this should not be done if there's any duty-free in your luggage, because nobody will be able to share out the allowance. So if you've got stuff in your luggage you need to declare, then you can't do this. If you feel lucky, you could book a popular budget model of car and take your time getting to the front desk. They may actually run out of your model and you could be in line for a free upgrade, or you could get a much worse model if it's really busy. You will need a credit card when you collect the car for security. It is very unlikely that a debit card will be accepted. Some companies may insist on using the same card that was used to make the original booking, so make sure you know if this is the case before you depart. If you are sent to collect your car from a large car park and you notice damage, don't drive it back to the office. Leave it and go back to the front desk and complain, and insist a member of staff comes with you to complete the handover. Make sure that every part of the form is filled in. If a part is not relevant, put a line through it. Record the mileage and how much fuel was left for you. Make sure you understand the fuel charges. Do you need to return the car empty or full? If it has to be full and you haven't been given a full tank, make sure that this is noted on the paperwork and agree with a signature from the company representative of what you should do when returning the car. Also, if you have to fill up the tank, make sure you keep your last receipt if it has the date and time on it, so you can use it to proof of any disputes. It is the driver's responsibility to ensure that the car is road legal. Some countries have laws such as reflected vests must be carried, or in France it is illegal to have a sat-nav that lists up fixed speed cameras. When you collect the car, ensure that you have completed a checklist of the local laws so you know you can check that you have been supplied with all the necessary equipment to be road legal. If you need a child seat, it is probably better to bring your own. The child seats do have to be ordered well in advance, and they can still be missing when you go to collect the car. And car seats can be usually carried for free by your airline. And not only would it be a better fit for your child, it would probably be more hygienic as well. And finally, make sure you know all the emergency telephone numbers and instructions that must be followed should you break down or have an accident. And remember, before you drive off, take a few moments to become familiar with the car. And now, travel news. Dublin Airport has confirmed plans to build a €320 million second runway by 2020.